You know how some questions actually have the answer to the question within the question? I probably confused you. That's okay, because we're going to sort of make that the theme of today's show. It should be, that might be interesting. I'm not going to lie to you because I really don't know. Now, this goes out to all of the DJs out there, the air personalities on Spreaker. Feel free to download any of my shows, and by all means listen, and please, 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 please make sure you take notes. Because this is what a real show is supposed to sound like. And I know you do this. Do you know how I know? Because I'm Chris Top, bitch.
The Chris Top Program, the alternative to the garbage on Spreaker.
Hi, I'm Chris Top. First off, I want to thank you for tuning into the Chris Top Program. While I try my best to keep the show as rated PG-13 as possible, sometimes things slip out, or sometimes things happen, and that's just the way live radio goes. And because this is the internet, the FCC isn't around to tell me what I can and can't do. So because of the occasional slip-up or the guest that might get out of hand, you really need to be 18 or older to listen. If you happen to be under 18, please make sure you get your parents' permission. Portions of the day's programming are reproduced by means of electrical transcriptions or tape recordings.
You can either talk in the Chris Top Program.
I am the one and only Chris Top.
You can either talk in the Chris Top Program.
Broadcasting live from my lavish studio apartment.
The VCR and the DVD, there was a night of black pride back in 1970. We didn't know about the World War Web was a whole different game being played back when I was a kid. Wanna get down in a cool way, picture yourself on a beautiful day. Big bell bottoms and groove long hair, just walking in style with a portable MP3 play. You can listen to the music on the Chris Top Program. Chris Top Program. You can hear the music on the Chris Top Program. Chris Top Program.
One and only Chris Top.
Wanna hear the music on the Chris Top Program. You can hear the talk in the Chris Top Program.
Sunny Clarksville, Tennessee.
You can hear the talk in the Chris Top Program.
This is the Chris Top Program.
And I am the one and only Chris Top, broadcasting live from my lavish studio apartment here in sunny Clarksville, Tennessee, with an ocean view. Well, it's about 20 minutes till 3, so I have to ask myself this question, and I don't know if this question has an answer to it. What the hell am I doing up? More importantly, if you're listening to this live, what the hell are you doing up? It's okay, go to bed. I don't blame you because it's late. I don't have to work today. But maybe you do, I don't know. But you can listen to it on the way to work. You just download it and play it in your car. Or you can just go to the site and listen to it with the app. Whatever it takes, just for crying out loud, get some sleep. So how are you, besides tired? I'm not even tired. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the 2 cans of Mountain Dew I've already downed before I did my show. I don't know. Have you heard about the heat wave they're having in Phoenix? Well, in case you haven't, I actually have a couple of stories here. I mean, you wouldn't think something like it's hot in Arizona would be news. But it's really, really hot in Arizona. I mean, the heat wave, it actually sent temperatures in Phoenix, are you ready, to almost 120 degrees. You can literally bake in your car. Now, there was a reporter here, he actually snapped a picture of some people that were baking chocolate chip cookies in their car. Yeah. Now, it might be 119, 120 degrees outside, but the inside of the car is more than 200 degrees. I need to try this. I don't know if I could do it. It was nice today. I mean, it was sunny, but it wasn't humid like Tennessee usually is. And yesterday was the same way. And then we had a little rain shower at the end of the night tonight. It was about at 10 o'clock. We had a little rain shower, and it lasted for maybe 5 minutes. just enough to get the ground wet, and then it stopped, and it feels so good outside. I mean, it's hotter than balls during the day, most days, but then at night it's been getting down to the lower 70s, upper 60s. So if you have a swimming pool, the water still feels great. It could be miserably hot outside, and the water feels good. It's a perfect summer so far. But, I say that prematurely because it's not July yet. It's not August yet. And that's usually when it gets pretty bad, is in July and August. So get back with me in a couple of weeks, and we'll talk about how nice it is at that point. I had another story about Phoenix, but we may just come back to that. I don't know if I feel like doing another Phoenix story, like back-to-back like that. Let's switch it up some. Now, the only reason that you may have to go to China may not be around much longer. And this is the debate that's going on. Now, do massages with happy endings constitute prostitution? And that's a that's a question that's going on in China. Me, personally, I think it does, China. I think it's prostitution, but that's just me. Now, the topic of whether such paid sexual services are a crime, even if they do not involve intercourse, is apparently being hotly debated in China. And there are two different interpretations by the law. Now, the courts say that it's legal. I mean, call me crazy, but I mean, if their courts happen to say that it's legal, I mean, doesn't that make it legal? But then they have the police that say that they're not legal. So I'm confused. I don't think I can live in China. So the police, they outweigh the courts? See, I don't get it. But this has caused confusion, and I would assume so, at many of the massage parlors and salons that offer services such as happy endings. I really hope that once the dust settles, that it all ends happily, is what I'm shooting for. But yeah, you're listening to the Chris Shot. This is what a real show is supposed to sound like. You're listening to the Chris Top program, and I am Chris Top. I'd like to welcome the Doctor to the chat. The Doctor is one of my buddies from over in the UK, and I'm hoping I'll have a few UK listeners today because, what is it? It's almost 9 a.m. there. Yeah, it's 8:40 a.m. in the UK. And Scooter says, damn you, was sleeping. Now I have to get back up. Look like it's Chris Top, Red Bull, and me. Let's get this thing going. Scooter requested, because I was doing some ringtone requests a few days ago, and Scooter requested a ringtone for hating truck drivers. And I'm just going to put this out there. I did a request, but I've gotten so many hate mails. I didn't say that right. I've gotten so much hate mail because of that darn ringtone. Somebody wrote and said, hey, Chris Top, I'm a truck driver, and we hate you too. But it's just a request. I did it for Scooter. I'm going to start forwarding all my hate mail to Scooter. It's amazing how many people will hate on you for doing just a stupid ringtone. But it's gotten a few downloads. I mean, it's not bad. I mean, so there are, I guess, lots of people in the world that may have a dislike for truck drivers for one reason or another. And if I had it downloaded, I'd play it for you on the show, but I don't. But you can go to PhoneZoo. You can go to PhoneZoo.com, and you can actually listen to it for yourself. All you have to do is search for the Chris Top program, and then you can scroll down and see it. And I also have another ringtone that I've been working on. I got started on PhoneZoo because I used to do personal ringtones for people, like name tones is what I called them. So like you give your name tone to your friends, and that way they know when you're calling because, well, it says your name. But I got so burnt out because I did several hundred of those. And if you can't find your name on that ringtone, I'm so sorry. Because I'm probably not going to do any more. So I thought I'd switch it up, and I changed it to sexy tone. And it's not what you think. It's really ridiculous. I use this 70s type porno music in the background, and I used my not so great Barry White voice for the name tone, and it's really ridiculous. But I think it's kind of funny, and I'm hoping maybe it'll catch on. I don't know if it will or not. And again, I don't have that one downloaded either, but you'll have to go to PhoneZoo and check that out. And I only did a couple of names. What I did was I got on the internet, and I just picked out 2 popular names, and then I made name tones out of those, and I put them on the site. I'm thinking maybe other people will request it as well. And I have had one request so far for one of those, so I did that one. So there's actually 3 up. So we'll see how that one goes, and maybe eventually I'll download it and play it on the show. And I would do the voice for you, but I'm just not in that kind of mood right now. I'm really not. Now, archaeologists, they believe that they solved the coldest of cold cases. How old do you think it is? 50 years old, 60, 100? How about 389 years old? It's pretty old, right? It's a murder from the Jamestown colony. You know, I kind of think sometimes, why do people even care? I mean, if it's that old, why even care about something like... But I guess, though, it's still the right thing to do. If you have the technology, the capability of solving something like that, then you probably should, just because it is the right thing to do. But I don't think people are standing outside protesting saying, I really want to find this guy's murderer. I mean, I don't think his kids are around. Now, in 1996, archaeologists, they discovered the skeleton of a young man on the site of the 17th century settlement, and they identified him as JR102C. Now, after examining his bones, they learned that he had been shot in the lower leg. Now, that's an injury that ruptured a major artery, killing him within minutes. But they had no idea who he was or who shot him until now. Now, researchers have learned of a man named George Harrison, and I don't think it's a Beatle, who took a bullet to the leg and then he later died. And this was following a duel in 1624. Now, if it's a duel, and it's a duel among 2 consenting adults, is it still considered murder? I mean, especially back in 1624. So JR102C finally had a name, as did his killer, and his killer was actually a merchant named Richard Stevens. So the case is closed. Finally. I wonder if Richard Stevens is still alive and well today. He did win the duel. I wonder what they were dueling over. I bet it was a damn woman. It's always about the damn women. Drives me nuts. Really drives me nuts. Scooter says, keep in mind, I'm a heavy equipment mechanic. I fix the trucks, they break. And then he says, damn them to hell. And that's why he wanted me to make the I hate truck drivers ringtone. And Totally Inappropriate Radio is in the chat. And it's good to see you, TIR. Waba back to you. You guys keep these late nights. Or is it, well, I know in the doctor's case, it's actually early morning. Not even that early. It's almost 9 a.m. But I mean, some of you I just don't... Scooter I get. Because he's always hopped up on Red Bull. So that kind of makes sense. Now, sometimes when you ask a question, the answer is already a part of the question. And I don't mean it literally, but I mean it's some questions just make you think enough, because it's one of those open-ended questions where there's really not a right or wrong answer, but it's open-ended enough where it makes you think, and a lot of times the answer just it sort of hits you like a train. And we're gonna talk about a few of those here in just a little while. And also, I've got some pretty tough questions too that we're going to talk about, and some of these have been answered, and some of them I don't agree with. Some of them I do, but I'm kind of wanting to know what you think, what's on your mind. So that's what we're going to explore today on the Chris Top program.
Hello, dorks of the world, and waba to all. That zombie apocalypse is quickly approaching, kiddies. Right this minute is the best time to look for the closest dork safe house. Why don't we ask little emo Timmy where he's gonna go when the zombies come a-knockin'? Oh, wait, look at that zombie go, eating what few brains little emo Timmy had left in his head. Remember, be a dork, be proud, be hip, and waba.
The Top, broadcasting live to at least 3 people on Spreaker.com.
All right, a big shout out to all of the professional Googlers in the world, and you know who you are. And also a big shout out to all of my crazy British friends that are up early this morning having their daily crumpets. Now, here's a question for you. And think about this while I come back into the show. What is it like to wake up every morning and pretend that you aren't dying?
So you know about him?
Of course. Do you think he's coming back?
I don't know.
I'm Spreaker's reckoning. Mr. Top.
Why didn't you just kill me?
Your punishment must be more severe. When Spreaker is ashes, you have my permission to die. begin?
You can either talk in the Christoph program.
And this is the Chris Top program, so you, my friends, are absolutely, positively in the right place. Let's ask that question again. What is it like to wake up every morning and pretend that you aren't dying? Well, because you know that a pessimist is going to look at it like this. That every day we're dying, we're a little closer to death. And then an optimist is going to say, well, every day we live, well, that we don't die. So what is it like to wake up every morning and pretend that you aren't dying? In other words, that you have an immortal life. How would you do things differently? Would you sleep more? Because if you flip that question around and you say something like, well, what would it be like to wake up every morning and pretend that you only have 2 years to live? What would you do differently then? You know, a lot of things would change at that point, wouldn't they? Because I think most people, and I guess the younger you are, the worse you are at it, is most people do wake up every morning and pretend that you're not dying. Life's pretty short, isn't it? So, I mean, if you flip that question around and you only have 2 years to live, or even 5 or 10 years, things seem a lot more important, don't they? Does work seem less important? It really does. I mean, I know you have to put food on the table. I get that. But do you have to put prime rib on the table? Can you get by with some ramen noodles? Maybe spend a little more time with the kids? You know, some of the things I really enjoy. I love my kids. I love them more than anything. And I feel like I don't get to see them enough. And if I knew that I only had a couple of years, then of course I would see them more. But why does it have to come down to that? Why do you have to put it like that to make these important things in life such a priority? So of course I'd see my kids more. And you know what? I would pretty much keep on doing a lot of things that I do because I surround myself with doing things that I love doing. I'd continue broadcasting. I'd continue going for a swim. I love doing that stuff. I like going to the movies too. And you know, I have tried 3 times. Well, I've tried 2 times to go see that damn zombie flick with Brad Pitt in it. And the first 2 times I didn't get to. So tomorrow I have plans again with my bestie Amanda. We're gonna go check it out. And just I'm hoping it's a good movie. I really am. She said she was actually going to dress up as a zombie when we go, and I said, sure, that's fine. But I told her what I would do when we walked through the front door and people started to stare at her. I'd just point at her and I'd be like, oh, never mind, she's just a lesbian. It's fine. And I figured that would probably explain everything. So, I mean, see, these can be pretty thought-provoking questions. If you really dig kind of deep. Now, do I even want to talk about this one? Let me see what's going on in the chat first. It's kind of a slow chat because, well, it is 3 a.m. If you're around here. Now, see, I figured Travis might be up because what he does, I think, okay, and I don't know Travis on a personal level, but on a virtual level, we're pretty tight. right? Googlers of the world, unite. I should patent that. See, it sounds really cool when I say it. Googlers of the world, unite. See, that's kind of cool. It's kind of like a partial Batman voice. But what, I don't know Travis on a personal level, but this is what I'm thinking. Travis probably gets out of bed, if he's not working, because I'm sure he's a working man. He probably gets out of bed around 5 or 6 p.m., and then he drinks, and then he probably drinks a little more, and then he drinks, and now he's back home again, and he's listening to my show. So see, if I broadcast at 3 a.m., I'm going to catch Travis. And if I were to do it at 4 in the afternoon, 3 in the afternoon, he would either be working or sleeping. And if I did it in between 5 and, say, 2 a.m., then he would still be out drinking. So now I'm catching him when he's kind of coming down. He's kind of relaxing. This is his early evening. Because eventually he'll go to bed. As soon as that sun comes up, bam, he's going to be out. Travis says, "You do know me." Scooter says, "OMG, you mean I'm going to die?" Or he says, "I'm dying? Damn it, I just put in for vacation." You know, I would put in for some long vacations if I could. If I only had 2 weeks to live, I think that I would just take those 2 weeks off of work. Maybe I'd run up my credit. Could I go to jail for that, for running up my credit? If I knew I was going to die? Or they'd probably make my kids pay it, wouldn't they? Oh. I'd have to have something in writing where my kids didn't have to pay that. But if they thought I did it on purpose, then somebody would get in trouble. Wouldn't be me. And TIR says, "Travis, it sounds like he has a very, very great life." I mean, if that's what you do, right? Now, I have... okay, let me ask this other question, and think about this. Do you believe in the death penalty? All right, now, a lot of you are I mean, this is a pretty heated topic, and it has been for a long time. Now, what if someone murdered your mother in cold blood? Well, I mean, of course, you're going to be like, kill him. Kill that son of a... because he killed your mother. Now, what if someone murdered a stranger's mother, but saved your life the month before? That's kind of an interesting twist, isn't it? Not really. That's one of those hypothetical things. I don't even really like that question. I mean, I don't think that's going to sway anybody's thought on the death penalty either way. I really, really don't. Now, if you had a friend who spoke to you in the same way that you sometimes speak to yourself, how long would you allow that person to be your friend? Isn't that a great question? Because we all tend to be very hard on ourselves. I mean, we look in the mirror, we see things that other people don't see, and we know ourselves very, very well. It's like, yeah, I need to lose some weight. Look at you, you fat slob. You fats. Why don't you just go over there and sit on your marshmallow couch? Sit on your couch made of marshmallows and just start picking away at it. Just eat a little bit of the arm. Eat a little bit of the cushion. Just keep eating it until you're sitting on the floor, and then you can't get up because you're so fat. What if your friends... Maybe that was a little extreme. And if I did have a couch made of food, it would probably be Cheetos. So if you had a friend who spoke to you in the same way that you sometimes speak to yourself, how long would you allow that person to be your friend? 5 minutes, maybe? 10 minutes? Maybe 20. Maybe they would never be your friend at all. So that's one to ponder. That's one to think about. Now, here's one that actually that I have an answer to. Now, can love really last a lifetime? Now, there's some interesting stuff here, and I want you to listen to this. And absolutely it can. I mean, we've all heard the stories. But the sad thing is we've heard more horror stories than the beautiful stories that are out there. But it's not like the fairy tale stuff. And I think that's what a lot of younger people, I think that's what they envision and think that love is, until reality one day kicks them in the ass. And, I say younger people, but I mean, there are a lot of 40-somethings out there that are still looking, and they still have this little dream in their mind of happily ever after that's just not going to happen. It's not. Now, there's a team of scientists. They recently found that romantic love involves chemical changes in the brain that last 12 to 18 months. I'm not a scientist, but doesn't that sound like that's probably pretty accurate? I mean, when you first meet somebody, you've got on your rose-colored glasses and everything's beautiful. They can't do any wrong, and it's just, oh, I love you. I love you too. You're beautiful. Oh, thank you. You're so handsome. Kiss me. And it's like that, and it's disgusting. And it usually lasts between 12 and 18 months. Now, after that, after the drugs wear off, and that's kind of what it is. It's like when you meet somebody that you're attracted to and you share a connection, it's like you're on some kind of drug. And that's the truth. Now, after that, you and your partner are pretty much on your own. I mean, relationships, they require maintenance. Right? I mean, it's more like a business relationship. After you go through rehab. After that first 12 to 18 months, you go through rehab and you're like, oh. It's like, oh no, I'm seeing you for the first time. It's like I was drunk last night. I made a bad decision. I woke up and I was like, oh, holy. I need to get out of here. I need to be really quiet. I'm not even going to worry about getting dressed. I'm just going to try to get out that door as quickly as possible. My car is right down the street. If I can just grab my keys and make it to my car. As long as I don't get arrested because I'm naked. But if I can just get in my car, I can probably get home. You ever had one of those nights? But I mean, real love is out there. I mean, just pay a visit to a nursing home if you want to see proof of everlasting love. Now, there was a man whose wife of 60 years was suffering from advanced Alzheimer's disease. Now, he came to sit with her every day and hold her hand. And this is what he said. She's been my best friend since high school. We made a promise to stick together. Now, see, that is a love story. And it also goes to show you that once the drugs wear off, and guys, I'm going to tell you, and this is going to be really disheartening to a lot of you, the sex, it's going to get old. It really does. You might be doing it every other day right now, or every day, maybe every couple of hours. I don't know you. Wouldn't it be great, though, if you always wanted to do that? I mean, really? But you might be doing that. But eventually that wears off, probably after 12 to 18 months. That's when you start to get the beer gut. See, people think that you're comfortable with somebody, and then that's when you get the beer gut. But no, it's because you're not having sex every couple of hours. It's like you stop working out. The drugs wear off, you stop working. Love is like cocaine. But anyway, the sex gets old. So I guess what really matters is how close your friendship is. That's what's going to keep you together. Right? And me being single now, I value my friends now more than I ever have. So it only makes sense that the person that you're in love with is your best friend as well. I think if you can do that, then you've got a much better shot at having a successful marriage. At having a successful love story. Now, another question. I better look at the chat. Because I'd asked one of those questions that supposedly answers themselves. So if you had a friend who spoke to you in the same way that you sometimes speak to yourself, How long would you allow that person to be your friend? I think that's a great question. Travis says he's already got the beer gut, so he's just going to skip right over that. Well, see, maybe, now Travis, I don't know if you're in a relationship or not, but maybe once you take that love, that's also the drug known as cocaine, the love drug, once you take that, then maybe you'll lose your beer gut, at least for 12 to 18 months. And then and then you may get it back after that, but I don't know. So maybe you should just fall in love for 12. It's like a 12-month diet plan. So you can try that out. Now I'm going to try to scroll up. I think we've got some new people in the chat here. I don't know if anybody ever answered that question or not. I have no idea. Let's see what we got here. Well, we've got some interaction in the chat. I like this. All right. Now TIR says, "Damn it, gotta let them live," and I think he's answering the question. Well, what if someone saved your life and then next month they killed somebody else's mother or something like that? Then TIR says, "Well, I'd have to let them live." And then Travis says, "Well, I guess that would depend on whose mother it was and whether or not I had a hangover." He didn't say anything about the hangover. I'd like to welcome Sarah to the chat. Sarah, it's very good to see you, and it's always good to have the lovely, vivacious Sarah in the chat of the Chris Top. And it wouldn't be the Chris Top program if Sarah wasn't in here. So you guys make sure you treat her with dignity and respect. The doctor says, "I don't agree with the death penalty. And I try to steer clear of politics when I do my show. I really do. Oh, I can't believe I'm going to do this. All right. I'm going to get political for 1 minute, and then I'm going to stop. I'm going to stop. I don't want to know your opinion. I don't care. I'm going to get very political, and then I'm going to stop. I'm just going to tell you why I believe this. I am a conservative Republican, but unlike many conservative Republicans, I am against the death penalty. And it took me many, many, many years of a thought process, of researching, of just thinking about it before I came to that conclusion. And the reason I came to that conclusion is primarily because I'm pro-life. I'm against abortion. So see, I just got way political on you, I know, and I apologize. But I'm just trying to explain myself. And I'm not trying to sway you either way on either topic. I'm really not. I'm just telling you what I think. So, in order for me to live with myself, to be consistent, I have to be consistent across the board. So I can't be pro-life and agree with pro-life values and then be pro-death penalty. It doesn't make sense. So that's why I made that decision. And Sarah said she never thought about that, Chris. Odd. And I'm not sure because I'm so sidetracked now, Sarah, and I apologize. I'm not sure what you're talking about now. TIR says that friend might be dead before they left my house. And that goes back to the question, how long would you be somebody's friend? And that's probably what Sarah's talking about too. If they said to you the things that you think about yourself or the things that you say yourself. Sarah says she doesn't talk to herself a lot, so maybe a short time. I talk to myself all the time. All the time. And it's pretty scary. Sometimes when I'm alone at home, well, I'm never really alone because Abby's here, but a lot of times I'll use Abby's voice so I don't feel quite as weird, but I guess that kind of makes it even weirder, doesn't it? So I'm just gonna stop right there. So what's going on in the chat? And remember, I'm not going to get political anymore. I gave it a minute, maybe two, and I'm done. I'm done. Why? What is going on? I did not just make fun of you. See, now there's death threats going on in the chat. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, you're missing half the fun. If you're listening somewhere else, you need to come on over to Spreaker. Sign up. It's fun, it's easy, it's free. And then you can join the chat as well. And then you can see what's going on in the chat. And you don't have to guess because I don't always tell you everything. Sometimes I think it's just better to have secrets. So I don't always explain everything that's going on in the chat. So you might just want to check that out for yourself. Now, here's another question. Okay, let's ask one of these thought-provoking questions first. Now, would you rather be rich and paralyzed from the waist down or poor and able-bodied? You know, that's one of those I don't even have to think about. Because I have equipment from the waist down that I would like to keep in proper shape, in proper order. So I think I would rather be poor and able-bodied. I mean, to be honest with you. Just because I enjoy using some of that equipment. Now, if I didn't have that equipment and I was rich, I don't know what I would want to do. I mean, to me, that's an easy one. Now, if I was like 70, 75, 80, maybe I'd pick the paralyzed thing because I'd only have a few years left anyway. So then I could at least set my kids up. So I mean, to me, that's an easy answer. I guess it just depends on how old I am, but I'd have to be really old. Like really, 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 really old before I would want to be paralyzed from the waist down. Now, this is a good question. And I have something in mind when I read this question, and you don't have to answer this, but just think about it. What's the most expensive gift you have ever received? Now, think about that for a second. Now, this is the second part of the question. Is it the best gift you have ever received? I'll kind of sort of answer the second part of the question. I think some of the best gifts I have ever received are some of the mistakes that I've made in life that didn't kill me. Oh, I think Chris Top might have just got a little deep on me. So I think people look at mistakes the wrong way. I think people are afraid of mistakes and they try not to make them. But when you try to avoid a mistake, that's probably the worst possible mistake you could ever make. Get out there, go for it, screw up, it's okay. You learn from it and you move on. Why do married people begin to look like one another? You ever notice that? And I think that's before they even start wearing the matching shirts at Christmas. Okay. Note to self, call my future wife, or, well, I'm not planning on getting married, so call your future significant other and go ahead and tell her now that we will never, ever, I'm writing this down, hang on, wear matching shirts at Christmas time. Okay. Now, if you watch any two people who like each other and they're talking, you'll see a lot of mirroring. One smiles, so does the other one. Say one nods their head or raises her eyebrows. Well, so does the other one. Faces, they're kind of like melodies with a natural urge to stay in sync. Now, you multiply those movements by several decades of marriage, all those years of simultaneous sagging and drooping, that's why they start to look alike. Isn't that interesting? Never thought about that, but that's really... And I think maybe that's why animals start to look like their owners as well. Okay, note to self. Never dress Abby in matching clothes. Especially not the shredded boxer shorts. Oh, and that reminds me, the shredded boxer shorts. You've got to go to my Facebook page and you've got to check out the Shark Week video. It's a quick video. You're going to laugh. You really are. You're going to want to watch that at least 10 times because every time I watched it, I laughed harder. It's a good video. It really. I'm excited about Shark Week. I really am. It's a good time of the year. And speaking of the time of the year, it's summer. Why does summer zoom by, and winter drags on forever. Okay, and this is why. And thanks to Albert Einstein, we know, because context defines experience. And Albert Einstein once said, when you are courting a nice girl, let's put this in today's terms, when you're smooching on a hottie, okay, now that was probably 20 years ago. Now I'm going to embarrass myself. So let's just go back to Einstein. When you are courting a nice girl, an hour seems like a second. But when you sit on a red-hot cinder, a second seems like an hour. I can't remember the last time I sat on a red-hot cinder. So I don't know if I can relate to that. But I can relate to the summer and the winter thing. Now, do animals really have 6 senses? Or maybe do they have 7 senses or 8 senses? A box jellyfish has 24 eyes. Could you imagine having 24 eyes? You know how expensive my glasses would be? They would be outrageous. My glasses are already outrageous. I have to have those high-index lenses. Because if I didn't, you would have to take like 2 Coke bottles and put them together to make the thickness of my glasses. So if I was a jellyfish, that just means I would be half blind 24 times. So I'm glad I'm not a jellyfish. Now, an earthworm's entire body is covered with taste receptors. Oh, dude. If my body was covered with taste receptors, I'd be like sumo wrestler fat. Now, a cockroach can detect movement 2,000 times the diameter of a hydrogen atom. Your dog's sense of smell is up to 100,000 times greater than yours. Did you know this? Some dogs have actually been known to smell human cancers. Is that not insane? I think it's pretty safe to say that animals do have a 6th sense, and they actually experience a much different world than we do. See, this is a fun show. See, I like these kinds of shows. This is like a late night show where it's kind of sort of thought provoking, but then again, it's kind of not. And I like it when it's kind of not. What was that Pinocchio question? I've asked this on a few different shows before, and it always gives me a headache when I think about it. And how does it go? If you looked at Pinocchio and you said, "Hey, Pinocchio, your nose is going to grow," what would happen? Because if it's a lie, then his nose will grow. But if it grows, then you really didn't tell a lie, you told the truth. You see where I'm going with this? Does that not give you a headache? I wish they would have done that in the cartoon because I would like to know what would happen. If I ever meet Pinocchio, I'm going to ask him that question. All right, let me ask you this question. And then we're going to go to a quick break. Stealing is immoral, right? It's wrong to steal. I think everybody can probably agree with that. But what if stealing was the only way to feed a starving child? What if stealing was the only way to feed a starving child? That's pretty interesting, huh? I'd have to say I think I would turn to a life of crime. And I believe TIR is leaving us, so TIR, it was great that you stopped by. I really appreciate it. Tell your Google friends I said hello. And Travis says, imagine how much contact lenses would cost. It would take you all day if you were a jellyfish to put your contacts in. It would take you, by the time you got your contacts in, you'd have to take them all back out and then go to bed. Thank God we're not jellyfishes. Clinton says, note to self, and hello, Clinton, how are you? And Clinton is now using a microphone as his logo. Note to self, if my future widow likes to listen to Chris Top, I will quickly become a widower. See, Clinton loves me. Don't let him fool you. He really does love me. But it's good to see you. Oh, and TIR says he already watched that video. You got to watch the Shark Week video. You got to watch it. because it's going to make you laugh. Chris, do you not remember the show you did that was saying that men like girls that act like them? I think that's what happened. It just becomes habit. Yeah, and you're right. I think that's what it is. I think that's what it is. Let's see. Clinton says, that dork is on. Godzilla 2000 is on. Which should I pay attention to? I think Godzilla. Like I said, Clinton actually loves me. Don't let him fool you. And I don't think anybody got political with me. That's good. That's good. I was just going back up and I was checking. I just wanted to make sure. Also, jellyfish only have orifice, so they poo out of their mouths. They only have one orifice, and I don't know if that's true or not. That's coming from Travis, and he's coming off of a big drunk. So I don't know if that's true or not. And if it is, that would suck. That would really suck being a jellyfish in more ways than one. It really would. But this is the Chris Top program. I am the one and only Chris Top, and I will quickly return. You, my friends, are in the right place. And take just a minute. If you have a show on Spreaker, make sure you type the word into the chat right now, because we are about to spread that Spreaker love. And then when you see the word show pop up, make sure you click on that person, you give them a follow, listen to them when you get a chance. If you don't like it, unfollow them, whatever. But at least give them one chance, because everybody deserves a chance.
We're just here to spread that love all around. Spread it around. Spread it around.
The Chris Top Program, the alternative to the garbage on Spreaker.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? Is this not why you are here? My name is Dorcas Maximus, Commander of the Dorks of the North, General of the Dork Legions, loyal servant to the true Emperor Dork Vader. And I will have my vengeance. Dorks of the world, unite!
Two epic movies collide.
Go ahead, Hermione. Make my day.
A sissy wand or a 44 Magnum?
Are you a wizard? Man's got to do something for a living these days. Dying ain't much of a living, boy.
Dirty Harry Potter has made his decision.
You've got to ask yourself one question. Do I feel lucky? Well, do you, Voldemort?
You know, I always wanted a girl just like you. Such a PYT, pretty young thing. Ooh. Where did you come from, baby? And ooh, won't you take me there right away? Won't you, baby? Tenderoni, you've got to be. Spark my nature, sugar, fly with me. But don't you know now is a perfect time. We can make it right, hit the city lights. Then tonight is a love and pain. Let me take you to the max. I want to love you, pretty young thing. You need some loving, I said that love and care, and I'll take you there. Girl, I want to love you, pretty young thing. You need some loving, I said that love and care, and I'll take you there. Yes, I will. Ooh. Nothing can stop this burning desire to be with you. Gotta get to you, baby. Won't you come? It's emergency. Cool my fire, yearning, honey, come set me free. But don't you know now is a perfect time. We can dim the lights just to make it right. In the night, hit the loving spot. I'll give you all that I got. I want to love you, pretty young thing. You need some loving, I said that love and care, and I'll take you there. Yes, I will. Yes, I will. I want to love you, pretty young
right, I've got Grill Online Radio here in the chat with me. And if you're not familiar with the radio show iClassic, you're one of the few. And they're going to come back, and they're going to change their name to iZone 133.7. It's the new name of their show. And what they do is it's sort of an extension of an online game. So whenever they broadcast, they've got like 1 million listeners. So try not to be on the air at the same time iZone is, because you're not going to have any listeners. They're all going to go there for some reason. It's like a little drug. I don't know what it is. I really don't. But in the meantime, you can follow me on Facebook. You can tweet with me. You can tumble with me. You can download my ringtones on PhoneZoo. And by all means, go to my Facebook. And if you haven't done this yet, make sure you post the dorkiest picture that you have of yourself. Because that way, you're in the club. That way, you and me, we tight. And trust me, you want to be tight with the top. It's 3:30 a.m. in the morning here in Tennessee. I think it's about time for some coffee. I was thinking about calling heaven and saying, hey, there's an angel missing. But I was kind of hoping you're a slut.
I need a caramel macchiato, so make it a grande. A double shot espresso, extra whip on a latte. A tazo passion or green shake and iced tea. And while you're at it, heat up a muffin for me. I want a peppermint white chocolate soy milk mocha. Don't make it too hot, cause I don't want to choke. I want something else, wait a second or three. Yeah, a pumpkin spice frap, light blended coffee. I want a triple grande cinnamon latte with soy. And a copy of Chef's Book, Beautiful Boy.
You can either talk in the Christoph program.
Mr. Pop.
Take it from the top.
And yes, you are absolutely, positively in the right place. This is the Chris Top program. And I'm Chris Top. Today, we're asking some questions. It's just a show of questions. That's all it is. Why is it that the line that you're in, it always moves the slowest? Isn't that true? It's like any time that I have to go to work and I leave 15 minutes before I'm supposed to be there, and it takes 15 minutes, it always takes me 20. Because I can't pull out, or I get in the lane that's just not moving. Because you're late for your kid's band practice, and you curse your luck and envy those people that are speeding by. Conversely, when you're in the fast lane, you're unfettered by stress. You don't even notice the poor people that are in the slow lane. Good luck rarely commands one's attention like bad luck. See, I don't even know if that answers that or not. I really don't. I think it might be a karma thing. So if you did something bad that morning, then more than likely you're going to be late. Now, what age should you know? And I'm sitting back in my chair right now because I didn't get coffee, but I did play the Starbucks song. By what age should you know what you want to do with your life? Huh. Oh boy, what a question that is. When I was 18, I knew exactly what I was going to do and exactly where I was going to be. Now I'm 41, almost 42. I'll be 42 next month. The middle of next month, I will be 42. But damn you, don't call me 42 yet, because I'm not. I won't be until the 16th of July. So I'm going to be 41 years old up until like a second before midnight on the 16th. So don't even go there. So by what age should you know what you want to do with your life? Any moment? Now, this used to be a question that the young people asked. Now, the baby boomers are asking it. Now, the Bureau of Labor Statistics, they report that the younger boomers have abandoned the American ideal of picking a job and sticking with it. Now, between the ages of 18 and 36, these boomers held an average of 9.6 jobs. Now, that's quite a bit of exploration. Now, the wisdom of all of the old folks in all cultures, it seems to be this. There's nothing to do with a life but live it. There's nothing to do with a life but live it. That's wisdom. Now, Gandhi pointed this out. Almost anything you do will be insignificant. But it's very important that you do it. That takes away the meaning of what I'm doing right now, but it also adds to it. And one of the reasons that I broadcast, and I've brought this up before on the show, one of the reasons I broadcast is so I can always be, and this might sound depressing, but I don't mean for it to. I can always be a part of my kid's life. And I'm going to go beyond that. I mean, my kids basically know who I am and what I'm about. But let's go a step further. What if my grandkids one day want to know who I am? How about my great-great-grandkids? And I could keep going. See, this is going to be here. They'll be able to go back and they'll be able to be like, man, Chris, come on. Dude, what were you? You shouldn't have said that. That was ridiculous. Oh, I can't believe you said that. Or maybe a couple of, oh, that's kind of cool. I mean, if they're even saying that's kind of, in a couple of 100 years. But it's just kind of neat because I wish I had some way of going back and getting to know my ancestors this intimately. I would definitely do it, and I would learn so much because it would be interesting listening to my family members from 100 years ago or from 200 years ago. So I'm hoping this is a gift that generations down the road and my family will appreciate. And this is kind of corny. When is your future behind you? The answer? When you stop chasing dreams, so don't stop. Whatever. Do you have to love your job? Do you have to love your job? I don't think so. I mean, love your children. You can love your wife. You can love your country, your parents, your neighbor, your dog. I mean, love is an important emotion. I think it's way too important to attach to the way that you make a living. Now, but with that being said, it's okay, I think, to strive for satisfaction. Now, there was a recent poll. It was taken across America. 59% of workers say that they are extremely, somewhat, or slightly satisfied with their jobs. But then you have the very depressing 33% that feel as if they've reached a career dead end. Now, if you're among the latter and thinking about a new job, consider the fact that employees in small firms say that they felt more engaged in their work than did their corporate counterparts. So if you're looking for some sort of fulfillment out of your job, then maybe you should stray away from the corporate world and actually look for something more along the line of maybe your own business or mom and pop or something like that. You'll probably feel more like part of the team. But see, it kind of goes both ways. I mean, if you're a person that knows what he's doing and you're creative, then you're probably going to do better outside of the corporate world. But if you like rules, if you like regulations, if you like having answers for everything, because in most corporate settings, they've done a lot of research, and more than likely, they've been around for a while, and somebody has made the mistake that you're about to make, so they already have an answer for it somewhere. All you have to do is Google it. So I guess it really depends on what type of person you are. Here's a good question, and I've asked this question my whole life, and recently I changed my answer because the question is, can a man and a woman ever just be friends? And for my whole life, my answer to that was no. I don't think so, because eventually, there's going to be, something's going to happen. Or maybe the girl is, well, I'm just his friend, but the guy says he's her friend, but first chance he gets, he's going to make a move. But here in the past, just recently, I've changed my thought process on that. And I think it's because I'm getting older and I'm thinking more with my mind than my, but then another good example is, one of my best friends is a lesbian, so there's no chance I have with her. So if you look if you look at it like that, it's very possible. But the answer, can a man and a woman ever just be friends? Well, maybe for a short time. So making the friendship last requires that you find each other at least vaguely repulsive. So if you want to be just friends with the opposite sex, then you both have to find each other at least vaguely repulsive for that to work. Isn't that interesting? Okay, if somebody could tell you the exact day and time that you are going to die, would you want them to tell you this information? See, that is a tough one. That is a tough one, isn't it? I mean, could I ask this question? Could I say, well, okay. No, you can't even do that, because then you're going to still know the answer. Damn it. See, I was going to say, okay, just tell me when I'm going to die if it's at least more than 50 years from now. And then when they didn't tell me, I'd be like, oh my God. I don't know, but I know it's not going to be 50. Am I going to die tomorrow? And then that would probably even drive you more insane. Travis says he can't wait for his grandkids to hear his show. He says he thinks he might get disowned. Well, see, when you're a grandparent, I think you can get away with more, but see, you're screwed because you actually did your show when you were young. So I guess they can hold it against you. I don't know. So you're kind of screwed. I do want to say goodbye to Grill Online Radio. They said it's 4:38, way too drunk and tired. Good to hear from you again, Mr. Top. Thanks for the shout out. Going to use it. I appreciate you guys. I really, really do. Thank you so much for stopping in and listening. Why don't we do this real quick, and then we'll get back to a couple more questions. I'm going to have to wrap it up pretty soon because it is getting close to that 4 a.m. mark. And I really don't want to see the sun come up today. I really, really don't, because I got the day off today, and I really want to be awake when I go see the Brad Pitt zombie flick. I am so ready for a zombie movie. I really, really am. But a lot of people have been saying it's not traditional zombie, and I know that. I know, but it still it keeps it alive a little bit. Well, that didn't really make sense because I'm talking about a zombie movie. But see, Walking Dead, it's so far away. It's not. The fall is so far away, and I don't want to wish my summer away. So it's nice to have something, I guess, in between to sort of help with the pain. And okay, now somebody the other day, I was talking to them about Walking Dead, and I can't remember who it was, but they said everything's zombies now. I mean, everybody's like so into zombies, zombie this, zombie that. And I told them, I said, I liked zombies before zombies were cool. So it's perfectly okay for me to talk about The Walking Dead. It's perfectly fine because I liked it before. I liked the zombie movies and stuff. So it's fine. Now, if you are a dork, I want you to go ahead and stand to your feet, place your hand over your heart, put your other hand in the air, and I want you to say this. Because this is the Dork National Anthem by my good buddy Belgium Tim. We're going to follow that up with the Wabba Rap by my good buddy Big N. They wrote these songs just for me and for you, so I do appreciate it. But I want you to say this. I want you to say this in a resounding way. I'm a dork. I'm proud. You know the rest, don't you? I'm a dork. I'm proud. And I'm hip. If you can say that in a resounding way, I don't know.
Working on being awesome every day. I'm working on being awesome every day. W-O-B-A-W-O-B and yeah, I'm working on being awesome every day. I'm not really awesome to this day, but I'm working on being awesome every day. I'm not awesome today, but I'll be one day.
Yeah, Big N in the building, representing the dorks. Dorks of the world unite, y'all. Yeah. Hey there, everybody, I got something to say. The sky ride over there is rubber every single day. Okay, what is rubber?
It gets those creepy cold things.
No, dude, it's just a little dork saying. Well, W is working, O is on it, B is being, and A is for awesome, and that's the dork saying. I'm already awesome, but that's okay, cause Mr. Chris Top is too, but he just doesn't know it. And so are all of you from here on to the far. And just so you know, life is good and I'm gone.
See, Sarah brings up a very interesting question. She says, okay, the Lone Ranger's out, and I know you want to see that, so do you want to see that more than World War Z? I don't know. It's a tough question, because I really do want to see the Lone Ranger, because, well, the Lone Ranger stirs up all kinds of childhood memories and things like that. But I love zombies. So I don't know, it's kind of tough. But I've been trying to see World War Z for a couple of weeks, and I keep not being able to go see it, so I can't wait any longer. I just need to go see it and get out of my system. And I've heard some bad reviews, I know, but I have to see it because I'm Chris Top, and everybody knows that I'm way into the zombies. So regardless, I have to see it. Even if I end up hating it, I still have to see it. So we're going to ask a few more questions here in just a minute. And Clinton, why do you do that? Well, see, and Travis says I should go watch both. You know, Travis, I find it harder and harder to stay awake during movies, and I know that sounds like an old person. I know. But it's because I'm up at 4 in the morning is why. But I don't know if I could sit through two movies, even if I did just love them both, I may not off. And whoever I'm with is going to get embarrassed because I snore. And that's worse than a baby crying, I think, in a movie when you got some guy beside you snoring. Especially in a good movie, right? Clinton, what did Clinton say? Clinton said something obnoxious. Not that Clinton would ever say anything obnoxious. He says, time for me to go to the bathroom as the lady... See, he does this. As the lady... Okay. Abby, hand me that. Abby, hand me that towel. Thank you. I've got my my pool towel draped over my other chair here. Whenever I come back from the pool, I just drape it over the chair so it's there for next time when I'm headed out the door. I'm getting kind of tan this year. I haven't burned yet. I'm getting kind of tanned. It's kind of looking a little sexy, actually, if I must say so myself. And I need a haircut, but then again, I kind of like the flowing hair too. So I don't know. I might just keep the tan and the hair going for a little while. You just I don't know.
honestly, dude, first off, it's your best friend. Did you forget about the bro code? You don't go after your best friend's girl. Second thing, dude, you've been stuck on this chick since the 80s. Come on, it's not healthy. Just move on. Okay, honestly, I have to say this. The word stalker ring a bell? You ever heard this phrase? Creepy much? Okay, look, just stop hiding in the shadows. Maybe try eHarmony.
The countdown has begun.
10, 9.
Oh yeah, I had every intention of staying away from Spreaker.
8, 7.
But I've experienced this sheer outpour of love.
6, 5.
And I could never turn my back on the 3 people that listen to my show.
4, 3.
Yeah, I'm coming back. And I'll tell you why.
2, 1, 0.
Because I'm Chris Top, bitch.
The Chris Top Program, the alternative to the garbage on Spreaker.
You can either talk in the Chris Top Program.
And yeah, I do. I have to keep a bucket by the table. It's my Lady Gaga bucket that I have to keep by the table just in case people like Clinton happen to make their way into the chat. See, I've got to get better security. I need better security to keep those poetry-loving geeks out of my chat box. I love Clinton, and he knows that. Okay, so what's your single greatest moment of personal failure? Does that even belong in the same sentence? Yeah, of course it does. Failing is a great thing. How many times do I have to tell you? Make mistakes, fail over and over again, because every time you fail, every time you screw up, you learn something new. I go back and I listen to every single show that I do. And Sarah will tell you, every night I go to bed, I play my show before I go to sleep. Aside from the fact that I love the sound of my own voice, I learn from it. I learn from my mistakes on the show. I learn that I say anyway too much, or I learn that I do that stuff too much, and I try to get a little bit better every show. And I would recommend that any broadcaster do that because it's going to make you better. First, you should listen to my show, because that'll make you better, and then you should go back and listen to your own show, because that will make you better as well. So yes, I am responsible for at least, I don't know if it's every night, so we're going to say probably at least 330 of my plays per year. So guilty, busted. So what is your single greatest moment of personal failure? Looking back on it, did it make you weaker or stronger? What did you learn? It's a great question. Great question. And I want to ask you this one now. Have you ever discriminated against someone? Everybody out there just went, no, I've never. I have a gay friend. One of my best friends is black. I've never discriminated. Well, I think sometimes we do it and we don't realize it. I'm going to go on. Imagine that a street gang that's notorious for wearing purple shirts has robbed and murdered several hundred people in your town. Okay, imagine that. They're not zombies, they're a street gang. Because not all zombies would wear purple shirts. They're not color coordinated. So if a man wearing a purple shirt just rang your doorbell, would you answer it? Would you answer? I don't think I would. I may come closer to answering the door if it's a zombie. Because then I know what I'm in store for. Then there's no question. Then I know it's a zombie, and it's okay because it's a zombie. He's already dead, so I can kill him again. And that's part of the fun. Right? Now, is it crazier to choose to be poor or to spend 40 years of your life hating 40 hours a week? Oh, what a great question. What a great question. But then again, I don't want you to be poor and not have a job and live off the government, because then I'm hating you every hour of the week because I'm supporting you. So get your job anyway, even if you hate it, okay? That's my answer there. You ever celebrate green lights? I do all the time. I'm like, yes, what, a green light. I'm only going to be 2 minutes late for work now instead of 3. I got a green light. Yay! Green lights. Green lights are wonderful. Let's find another good couple of questions to ask, and I'm going to wrap this show up. Why do we turn into our parents when we swore that we wouldn't? Well, that's a kind of an easy one, isn't it? Because really, when it's all said and it's all done, when it's all over with, we admire our parents. Whether we want to admit it or not, we admire them. We do. I look back and I've got more admiration, I think, for my mother than anyone else. And I wish I had more memories of my father. I really do. And he died when I was 8 years old. And I can talk about it and not get upset. But it's have I ever told you the psychiatrist story? You know how on TV when a guy or girl or a woman sitting in a psychiatrist's office and the first question they ask him, so how was your childhood? How was your relationship with your father? And I thought that was just in the movies. So I go to see this psychiatrist. And the first question she asked me, how was your childhood? How was your relationship with your father? And I haven't cried over the death of my father in years. Years and years and at least 30 years I haven't cried about it. But I bawled like a schoolgirl when she asked me that question. I'm like, really? I'm coming to see you so I can get better. But now I'm crying about stuff I haven't cried about in 30 plus years. What are you doing to me? Oh, and by the way, if you go see a psychiatrist, make sure you wear your good underwear. Just in case. I mean, she's not going to ask you to take your pants off, but just in case, because you never know. And if the chiropractor will do it, then the psychiatrist may as well. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, go back and listen to yesterday's show. Can a half-empty person become a half-full person? And we're talking about optimists and pessimists. Now, a current theory is that people have an emotional set point. Some people are just made happier than others. And you know what? I'm proud to say that I am one of those people. I'm basically a happy person. Even when I'm having a bad day, more than likely you're not going to know it because I just cover those up because I like to be consistent or I disappear. I just vanish. And then I come back and I'm better than ever. Now, pessimists will see this as bad news, believing it really doesn't matter what you do, and they are never going to be any happier. But there is hope. As any optimist will see, happiness has more to do with how you construe the events in your life than the actual events themselves. It's how you see the things in your life, as opposed to the actual thing happening. Yeah, I think I'm your basic optimist. That's why a lot of people don't like me, because I'm always happy. But then that's why a lot of people that know me love me, because I'm always happy. If somebody's having a bad day, they want to hang out with me. And that makes me feel pretty good. And it should. And I appreciate that. I really do. Okay, one more question. Now, let me look in the chat real quick before I go to this last question here, because I want to keep up with what you guys are saying. Clinton says, I never listen to my show, as I am a geek, and we geeks always do great shows, unlike the dorks. What is Travis is talking about Barry White? What's he talking? Travis, you've got to listen to my sexy tone ringtone on Phone Zoo. And Travis, I would make you one. If you want to request a sexy tone, Travis, I would be happy. I would be happy to put on my best Barry White voice just for you. And when you listen to that ringtone, I didn't manipulate my voice at all. That's my real voice. I didn't manipulate a thing. I just got on there and I laid it out. Sarah says, I love my mother. I would love to be the way she is more than anyone else in the world. Yeah, and that brings me back to the point I was going to make before I got sidetracked. I didn't know my father that well. He died when I was 8, and he was always working. He was a hard worker, and I admire that. I admire the person that I heard about. But my mom, she was there up until 2000. She died in 2000. So she had a lot to do with molding me and making me the person that I am. So I really love and admire my mom, and I would not mind one little bit being just like her. I really wouldn't. Sarah says she finds her mother wonderful, and Travis says that his mom already says he's just like his dad. Is that good or is that bad? I don't know. I guess it can go either way, Travis. All right, one more question. Is money the root of all evil? Because we hear that all the time, right? No, money's not the root of all evil. Greed is the root of all evil. Kind of makes you look at Washington in a different way, doesn't it? Now, Elvis nailed this one when he said, sharing money, and this is coming from the king of rock and roll, this could be the smartest thing that he ever said. Sharing money is what gives it its value. And that's a phrase coined by Elvis Presley. Pretty good. And I'm going to ask you one more question. And you're going to have to do some soul searching on this one. This is one of those that doesn't have an answer. And I'm guilty of this. I have been guilty of this, but I'm proud to say that at least 75% of the time, I'm not this person. So when you help someone, do you ever think to yourself, what's in it for me? If I help this person, what do I get out of it? And I'm being honest, I think at least 25% of the time, I'm 25% of the time I'm that way. But then the other 75%, I think I just do it. And when I help people, I'm not really looking for anything. But I do enjoy the way it makes me feel. So maybe that's what I'm getting out of it. It makes me feel good about myself. And of course I'm helping them just to be nice because it's the right thing to do. But then again, it's also that feeling that I get from it. Just I did a good deed. It makes me feel good that I did something. And then also you think sometimes, well, it humbles you because you could put yourself in the same situation of someone that needs help, and you hope and pray that if you ever do need help, then someone will come along and help you as well. It's the old karma thing. Well, thank you so much for listening, guys. When I get on here to do a show anytime, it doesn't matter what time of the day it is. I mean, if it's 4 in the afternoon or 4 in the morning, it never ceases to surprise me that I have people in the chat. And really, that does a lot for me, and I can't thank you enough. Really. Sarah says, if I'm helping someone, I don't do that, but when they ask for help, I am. Yeah, if somebody asks you for help and you're just like, okay, today I'm not going to do nothing, I'm just going to go for a swim, I'm going to relax, maybe drink some Mountain Dew, and then your friend calls you, hey, you think you could help me move some furniture? Hey, I got a flat tire. You think you can maybe come and help me change my flat? It's like, oh, son of a... And you don't want to do it. You really don't. But then you do it anyway. And then a lot of times after doing stuff like that, you don't even feel better about it. You just get home and you're like, dang, there goes 2 hours of my day. It's like the only free day I've got this week, and I had to go help my freaking friend. Why did I answer the phone? But you know what? You did it anyway. And that's And that's really all that matters. I do not, nor will I ever take any of you for granted, because there are a million other things that you could be doing, but you chose to listen to me. And that makes me feel pretty damn good. It really does. So until I broadcast again, please remember this. Life is good, and I'm gone.
Is it over yet?
Completely over. You have been exposed to the Chris Top program.
Yeah, okay, are we done? I really gotta get a life. Facebook, it's like jail. You sit around, waste time, have a profile picture, write on walls, and get poked by guys you really don't know.
So would you rather be poked by guys you don't know or guys you do know? Either way, I think it's one of those lose-lose situations. Now, if you ever listen to my show, you know that I never really leave after the intro. I'm going to come back and at least give you a couple more minutes of the top. Really, I like hanging out with you, and that's what it boils down to. Now, Travis brings up a good point. He says, when you go help a friend out, if they need you to help move some furniture or fix a flat tire or something like that, at least you can charge them a 6-pack. That's a good point. See, I never think to do that. I would have to charge them like a 12-pack of Mountain Dew or something. But, whenever I ask anybody to help me move or something, I usually offer to take them to dinner. Because I think that's the right thing to do. Because it goes both ways. I mean, you feel a little weird about giving your friends cash for stuff like that. But when you offer to take them to dinner, I think that just feels a little better, I guess. I think for both sides. Your real friends don't really want to take cash from you, but hell yeah, you can feed me. I mean, it's kind of the same thing, right? I mean, and plus, if you gave them cash, you would have to give them more. But if you take them out to dinner, then usually you get away with a little less, so it's not quite as bad. So I guess that works out. And thank you, Clinton. I appreciate that. Clinton says, great show as usual. So even though he has all those mean and nasty things that he says, he knows that there's a love-hate relationship there. Hopefully mostly love. Now, there were a couple of things that I did want to bring up that I thought were... This is a confusing thing. This is a confusing story. Have you heard of Melissa Nelson? I think I brought her up, actually, on a show a few weeks ago. She lost her job for being super hot. Now, according to the Iowa Supreme Court, her employer was within his rights to fire her for being irresistible. Is that not the craziest thing you've ever heard? Nelson, she's a dental hygienist. She had worked for Dr. James Knight for 10 years before Knight actually started commenting on her clothing. And this is what he said. He says, if she saw his pants bulging, she'd know it was too tight. And then he would send her text. Now, when Knight's wife discovered the text, when the guy's wife discovered the text, including the one that asked about Nelson's orgasms, the couple consulted their pastor. Do you imagine that trip to the pastor? It's like, okay, we're going to go see this guy. We really want to save our marriage. Do we have to let him read the orgasm text? Yes, you've got to let him read the orgasm text. He's got to know how mean and nasty you've been. That would be a very difficult ride, I think. But the pastor advised them to fire Nelson in order to protect their marriage. See, I don't know if firing the woman would make that right. I mean, but we don't know the whole story. I mean, did she egg it on? Was she as guilty as he is? See, this is all siding with her. So, I mean, it's sort of making the pastor out to be a bad guy as well, but maybe we just don't know the whole story. So I don't know. I don't know what my view is on this because I don't have all the facts. So Nelson sued for discrimination. The court ruled that although her firing may not have been fair, it was legal. Now, there is an update to this story. Nelson's lawsuit will get another chance. The Iowa Supreme Court has ruled it will reconsider the case. So it could end up being in her favor after all. She was surprised and delighted by the news that the Iowa Supreme Court has withdrawn its earlier ruling, and that's what her attorney said. So who knows what's going to play out in this story. I kind of sort of want to follow it because I would like to get more facts. And they were both wrong. I mean, if she egged him on, she was wrong, and if he fell into it, then he was wrong as well. I don't know. I mean, if he's the boss, ask her to resign. Maybe help her find another job before she's gone. Maybe that would have been the right thing to do. That's a sticky situation, isn't it? It's like, well, I'm not going to fire her because she works for me. That would be wrong. Well, then I'm going to get a divorce. You know, see, what? Best thing to do, don't put yourself in that situation. That way you don't have these tough decisions to make. But now that it's been done, what's the right decision? Tell me if this would make you sick. This would make me sick. Really would. Make sure you check your pockets if you stop at a garage sale recently. Dory, and she lives in California, she's devastated after realizing she sold an old denim jacket for $20. That's pretty good at a yard sale. I think that same denim jacket here in Tennessee would probably go for about $5. But because it's being sold in California, that's going to raise the value up $15 more. Now, the jacket, and she was probably pretty happy with the sale. She's probably thinking in her mind, that jacket wasn't worth more than $2. I just made $20 off that jacket. But then she realized that it had $18,000 diamond earrings in the pocket of the jacket. And, see, that's not all. And it had $1,500 in cash inside the pocket. Why would you stick that much stuff in a jacket that you know you're going to be selling at a yard sale for $20? I'm not understanding. Now, she had hidden the stash in case she got robbed. So I guess it was an old jacket she had in the back of the closet, so she put that stuff in there just in case. But then she forgot about it. How do you forget about that? Well, she says, I volunteer in my kids' classrooms multiple times a week. I work full-time. Anyone who is a mother knows you give so much of yourself that sometimes your brain just stops working. That morning, I sold the jean jacket without even a thought. And she says, we hope the person who finds them will have the conscience to return them. So here's a question for you, world. If you bought a denim jacket at a yard sale, would you, and then you checked the pockets, and you found $30,000 in the pockets. Or, okay, well, say you found $20,000. That's more like what's going on here. Say you found $20,000 in the pockets. Would you take that money back to the person? Or would you rationalize it in your mind? Well, it was a fair sale. She sold me the jacket for $20. So, really, I mean, I bought it. It's mine. How would you rationalize it in your mind? And Travis says, yeah, $20 for a denim jacket is brand new here. And that's probably about right. That's about right, isn't it? I think Travis is saying you should always check the pockets. Pretty sure she didn't know. Sarah says they won't take the stuff back. Travis says we need to go right now. We need to check garage sales in California right away. Sarah says I would bring back the earrings, not the cash. Well, I mean, if you took back the earrings, they're going to be like, all right, okay, thank you so much, but where's the $1,500 at? Because I had, I don't know. All I found was the earring. Maybe the $1,500 was in those shorts that you sold that other guy that lives in Alaska. I guess you could always say that. And Travis says he'd keep a couple for a finder's fee, then return the majority. You know, I would think that if I was the person that sold this stuff and then someone with a kind heart actually brought it back to me, I would think that I would offer them something. I would think, fair would be if they brought back the earrings and the cash, maybe give them $500. Say, look, here, take this because I almost lost it all. And evidently it wasn't that important to her because she didn't think enough about it. So, I mean, I think $500 would be pretty cool for doing the right thing. And Sarah said she'd just throw it in the mailbox and then run. So I don't know. I would like to think that I would return it, but it sure would be tempting, wouldn't it? I guess it depends on if it's that time of the month. Well, is rent due? Oh, man, I really got to make my car payment. So I don't know. Oh, my car is almost paid off. I am so happy. But, knock on wood, because usually when your car is paid off, that's when it starts to break down, and that's when it needs new stuff, and just, I hope not. But that's usually how that goes down. But once again, I want to say thank you so much for listening. I'm really going this time, but I do appreciate you guys sticking around. I do. The guys, all of you that are here in the chat now, the people that are going to go back and listen to the podcast, everybody that's listening on other sites where you're not involved in the chat, really, thank you so much. And until I broadcast again, please remember, life is good and I am gone.
Hello, fellow citizens. This is the latest in dork news from around the world. Those wacky potheads may not be as high as they think. They may have our milk money, but we still have all of our brain cells. Fellow dorks, never fear. Those mean girls who steal your bike every day are going to soon end up in Jailsville. Let's see how life looks behind the slammer. Not so much fun making knives out of soap just to survive, is it, ladies? Remember, kids, be a dork, be proud, be hip.
I sense a disturbance in the force. The dork side is strong in this one.
Did you hear that? This is madness. We're doomed.
Yoda, I don't think I can go back to Spreaker.
Always with you, it cannot be done.
Well, no, I think I could do it. I just don't know if I'm ready.
You do nothing that I say.
Wait, what? Can you just not talk Yoda for a minute?
You must unlearn what you have learned.
Okay, dude, you totally don't make any sense. If I unlearn what I've learned, there's no way I can do it. Okay, never mind, I'll try.
No.
You don't want me to try?
Try not. Do or do not. There is no try.
You are such a motivational speaker. You really are.
I do believe they think I am some sort of god.
You can either talk in the crib